Hello friends, in this video I'm going to tell you the 7-step approach that will help you in troubleshooting any kind of given problem. If you are a system administrator or an administrator, this 7-step process is going to help you a lot. If you follow these 7 steps, remember these and improve on these, I guarantee you that you will definitely be able to grow in your career. So let's start with this video. In overall process of working on a resolutions on any problem, the 40% of your technical skills are useful, while the 60% of your soft skills play a critical role. That's how you handle the client, how you handle your customer, how you present the resolutions, how you are able to trick into the situations and able to resolve the issues in time. So all this matters. So never forget that the soft skills are also important. You need to learn a lot in your career and add on to your existing skills. The very first approach in troubleshooting any kind of given problem is you have to start with asking the questions. Ask the questions that you think are relevant or may be relevant to a given problem. You need to understand the overall environment there. You need to ask the questions from the users. You need to ask questions to yourself. If you get any answers from the users or from anybody or from your within, then you should not ignore all those answers. All answers are important. There is no right answer, there is no wrong answer, but then you have to figure out which answer is more relevant to a given situation. Sidelines all the answers which you feel that they may not be relevant, they are not so significant, then you can pick only those points which you think are more helpful in resolving the given issue. And next comes what changes. You have to see what changes has been made to the environment, what changes has been made to the hardware, what changes has been made to the drivers. Are there any change within the applications? Is there any plugins which has changed? Is there any application extensions which has been installed or removed? Is there any change in the user? Has the user changed? Is the user new? Or is there any related setting with the hardware or the application or the user which has changed? There are user profiles. One application or hardware may work differently in different users profile. Or you have to also see whether the user has the permissions. Has the user permissions changed? Is user not the right user? So what changes has been made to the last user? There must have been any changes done to the system. So what changes are those? You have to get an idea on all these things. Note those points and make your notes. Use those points as the starting point to resolve the issue. Now, next you have to think of the frequency and the severity of the issue. Frequency means whether the issue is continuously occurring or it is intermittent. You cannot tell exactly when the problem is happening. It happens automatically by itself at any time. You also have to make a note of when did the problem happen last time. Is it still there? Or it is not showing any sign right now, but it happens a few days back only. Now you also have to understand the SLA. SLA means service level agreement. This will help you to decide whether you really have to start resolving the issue or not, whether it is your area or not, whether you are bound to resolve the problem or not. Is this kind of problem is the part of the contract that you have, or is this the problem that you need to escalate to somebody else? You need to have the better understanding of the SLAs within the organization, and then you have to work accordingly. Now you also need to see whether this particular problem is a showstopper for the user, or are there any workaround possible? Can you provide a temporary workaround to the user, or you have to fix the issues? User is not able to work at all, then you have to provide a replacement. Can you try with other system, with other application, or with other hardware? Is there any workaround possible? In the second step, we will learn how you need to apply the knowledge that you have. You need to apply your experience in resolving issues. First thing first, which means that you should apply your knowledge based on the answer of the questions that you collected in the last steps. You need to apply your experience to differentiate between the human error, hardware error, or application error. Not all errors are because of the hardware, or not all errors are because of the application. Some errors may be due to the user making the mistake. So some error can be due to the user has changed, user settings has changed, there must be any changes within the environment. You need to have the knowledge of the hardware, how the hardware works, and what are the dependency of those hardware, whether this hardware is a new hardware or older hardware. If it is a new hardware, there are less chances that there may be problem with the hardware. The older hardware may have more problems. And whether this hardware is covered under any kind of warranty. If it is under warranty, do you really need to start troubleshooting it, opening it, or repairing it? No. If it is under warranty, then you may need to escalate the issue to the third party vendor or the ISP. And when you are troubleshooting on the operating system, you should have knowledge of the operating system, how the operating system works. Normally operating systems comes as a command line interface or GUI interface. If it is a command line interface, you should have a good knowledge what are the command syntax, what are the command parameters, what are the command options, and how you can run the commands using admin mode. Do you have the access rights to run the commands in the admin mode? And if it is a GUI based operating system like Windows, you need to know where are the controls available. You should be able to search for the controls. You should have the knowledge of the menus and toolbars and how to use those toolbar options. And if it is a GUI, you need to have the knowledge of the shortcuts. The shortcuts helps to resolve the works quickly. Thus, you are able to resolve the issue in quicker time. And in a network environment, you may have the operating systems which are intelligent systems or which are dumb. By saying that intelligent systems or intelligent client means that the operating system is capable of processing most of the request by its own, can store local data. But in case of a dumb client, most of the processing is done on the server side. So you should know where the server is. A dumb client normally have a display, keyboard, mouse, and connected to the server using a network interface. So most likely the problem may be related to this particular devices only. Like there may be problem with the display, keyboard, mouse, or network interface. In case of the dumb client, you may need to go to the server and see what kind of problem it could be. In case of a dumb client, you also need to know how this dumb client is connected to the backend server. In case of an intelligent client, you need to have the credential of the systems to figure out what kind of problem there may be within that operating system. When you are troubleshooting any problem in a given network, you need to have some basic knowledge of what kind of different networks are there. Especially you should have a good understanding of OSI model, how the 7 layers of the OSI model works, and you should be able to map the given problem to different layer of the OSI model, whether this problem is belongs to the physical layer or this problem belongs to the application layer, or this is a network or transport layer issue. Since in today's time we are using TCP/IP as the standard protocol for the network internet, then you should also have the good knowledge or understanding of the how different kind of networks are there, like LAN, WANs, VPN. What are the difference between LAN, WAN, and VPNs, and how the routing works within your network, and what is subnetting, how you can create subnet mask, how can you identify the network and how many hosts are there within that network, how the host within a given subnet communicates with the host to the different subnet. And when you're troubleshooting the issues on a given website, user may not be open to a website, the website may not be working, website is not opening properly, the website is not behaving properly, means that you need to have the understanding of the how website works. A website can be hosted internally within your network, or it can be hosted outside your network. It can be hosted within a cloud, or it can be hosted to a data center. Do you have the access to the external hosting environment? How the DNS works, this is also important. DNS plays the important role. You need to know how the name resolution is done to the IP address, and how the reverse lookup works. You need to know the commands to troubleshoot the DNS related issues, and you need to have the good understanding of the browsers, Chrome, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge. You need to understand the settings configuration of these browsers. You need to understand the different kind of plugins which works on those browsers. You need to understand how you can disable or enable a given extensions or plugin in a browser. It is not recommended to use plain HTTP protocol for website access. So most of the sites use SSL, means secure HTTP. You need to know how this SSL works. You need to know how to figure out whether a site is SSL or not. You need to know whether a SSL is authenticated or not authenticated. And when you are troubleshooting a problem which relate to a particular application, you need to understand how this application is designed, whether this application is a desktop based application or it is a client server application. In case of client server application, you have front end of the applications and you have the back end of the applications. Front end is what is accessible to the user, what user sees on their systems, and the back end is the database or the code which run on the server side. And then you also need to understand how this front end code connects to back end code or the back end server. And since all these applications are developed in any kind of programming language, you need to have some knowledge of programming languages and how you can debug those programs. And you need to know how you can debug those programs. For example, in the browsers, the developer mode is provided. Using those developers too, you can check what kind of error you are getting when you are accessing a particular application. You can also check out whether this error related to a network issue or whether it is related to a JavaScript or any kind of control which is not running, or is there any particular error from the backend. And log analysis is also important skill. You should have a good understanding in a given type of log. You should know log file name, location of the log files. You should also know the log types. For example, in Windows systems, you have system logs, you have Windows logs, you have application logs. Plus, there are different kind of logs which are related to different applications. So you should know how to read those logs. All logs are given different log type IDs. You can search the web for a given log type and the log type ID on the internet. Most of the time the logs are kept on the local machines, but sometimes in organizations the logs may be sent to a central repository. How you can connect to that central repository so that you can access the logs. After that, you have the understanding of the problem and you have the adequate knowledge of resolving that issues, then you have to start resolving the issue. The very first thing when you start resolving a given issue is you need to be honest to yourself, which means you need to ask yourself, do you have the skills, do you have the knowledge to resolve the issues? Will you be able to resolve the issues? It is a matter of confidence as well. Be confident. Now, based on the situation, based on the problem, and using your experience and using your understanding of the problem, you need to apply different kind of theories and logics to provide a better solutions to a given problem. Now, which approach will be better? Whether you should start troubleshooting immediately, or you should restore the complete system, or you should restore the data or the application from a backup, or if it is related to any security concern, security incident where you may need to isolate a given system from the network. You may need to isolate the system in threat. Remember, the time is important, not only your time but the customer's time. You need to understand and give the due importance to the time of the user, and you need to use your time to help them to save their time. If you're trying a few tricks to resolve the problem but it's taking too much time, then it's not a good idea to spend that much time on a system. So it is better that you switch your strategy, and just resolving the issue is not good enough. You need to monitor. Once you have applied the resolutions to the issue, you need to monitor its behavior. You need to check the logs and see are the errors are still there. Is there any change in the pattern, or has it impacted the performance of the system? Is the resolution creating other problems, or this resolution is working just for once and the problem resurface? And finally, be calm, because attitude matter. Do not try to judge the user. Do not tell anything which kind of upset the user. Even if one resolution is not working, you need to keep your patience and look for another solutions. And then it comes record keeping. I see that most of the people ignore these skills, but this is so important. People do not understand the importance of record keepings. Even if you are working for your personal, or if you are in an organization, you need to keep a record of your activities. For example, you need to keep the list of commands and tools that you used in your day-to-day work, the commands and tools which are required for resolving a particular type of problems. You need to make the registers. You can also use notepad kind of applications. Try to keep your notes topic wise. For every subject, for every topic, keep different notes. Try to keep handwritten notes. You can color your notes. You need to recall all those tools, all those commands, all those notes on regular basis.